I thought both teams played incredibly hard. Not an ideal start for our guys. Some shots we live with, some Zuby, Bryce threes. But I thought the start was indicative of our guys having such a long break. 15 days off is tough. But I gained some confidence from that watching Indiana football the other night. They had a month off in between games. And, what they did, they were so disciplined and so consistent. And there was a bunch of swells in the game. We weren't disciplined and consistent and tough, but I felt like at the end of the game we really were. Our players deserve all of the credit for finding a way to win this game. Questions for the players?
Well, Jameer, down the stretch, defensively, it's probably the best team defense you guys have played in crunch time this year. Anything lead to that? Any conversation that brought you guys there?
I mean, we had 15 days off to get everything together, and I feel like we put together a good week of practice, and that was the results.
Anything else for players or right here?
How you doing? Cal Griffin of All Things Hoops. I want to talk about guard play. What specifically did you guys, do preparing for this game, and kind of shutting down, the opponent's guard play?
I think our main focus was actually on Zuby and Bryce, and I think even today they played good and they were playing for them. So I don't think St. John's guards really got a good amount of shots. So yeah.
Right here.
Give yourself some credit, man.
For both of you guys, just walk us through Jameer, your offensive rebound, and then Stefan, your three there. Push you guys ahead. Can you just walk us through that sequence?
Me doing what I do best, and then me finding our best shooter.
Steph, did you step into that three?
What do you mean?
Did you kind of give it a little fake and then just stepped in there?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
You answered the question for me.
Stefan, what allowed you to be so much more effective in the second half than you were in the first?
I think I played the same way the first and the second half. I just didn't get the shots in the first half, and then in the second half, I think I played. I put main focus on defense, and the game gave me some shots. And finally, man, after like three bad games, I think I had these open shots. I didn't force anything, and that's why I made them.
Jameer, just talk about guarding Bryce. How did you think you did out there against him?
I took my matchup personal, and I feel like I did great. I feel like I kept him off the boards, and I feel like I went to go get every rebound that me and him had a fight for. So.
How about your move at the end? You made a move.
A spin move, doing what I do best.
Okay, last question for the players, and then we'll go to Coach, okay?
Jameer, just follow up, just taking that matchup personal, just what made it personal for you?
Him being here last year, and I feel like if he was here this year, I feel like I should still play over him. So I mean, that's why I took that matchup.
Okay, thanks. All right, we're gonna take questions. You can go if you want. You're done. Thank you. You want someone to walk along? Someone to walk along. Okay. Questions for Coach, please?
Coach,
I'll start. All right, go ahead.
Sorry. Coach, you've lost a couple close games recently. Obviously, this was a huge game, obviously, with Bryce and that whole storyline. Can you just talk about just the effort, especially in the second half for your guys, and how important this really is for your program?
Yeah, it was, we've, in this era, when you're putting, bringing 10 new guys together, putting teams together, there's always a bunch of individual, wants and desires, and it's really hard to get that, to even Steph talking about 3 bad games in a row. It's not about that. It's about winning the game. And that's what we talked about all throughout the stretch of this game. I'm happy for the guys. I told our team, we're 7-6 after Seton Hall Christmas break, and we came back. And, the truth is, if we get one defensive rebound at the end of the Virginia Tech game, if we get You know, if we secure the ball at the end of the Butler game, we get one stop against Seton Hall, we're up 1 with a minute left. We're 10-3. And so if we were 10-3, we would still be the exact same team that struggles to play together at times, struggles to defend, struggles to rebound. So the onus was just us locking into what we had to do this game. It had nothing to do with storylines. They have a really good front court. I like Pau Gasol and Andrew Bynum down there. Our guys answered the bell. Obviously, they're not lacking confidence.
Kim, interesting you have 2 freshmen there with you. Their growth and to be able to do that on this stage is going to be encouraging for you.
Yeah, I mean, they're both starters. You know, Vaaks is coming off the bench now. He's a starter. We've said all along, 1 through 9 now, there's not much separation on this team. We don't have a go-to guy on this team. The go-to guy is the open man. It's about us defending as a group. Today we did. They shot 28%, but, you end defensive possessions with rebounds. We didn't do that. Zuby had 9 at halftime, 9 offensive rebounds, and probably accounted for more with dead ball rebounds. We told our team, wrote it on the board, if he finished the game with 11 offensive rebounds, we would win the game. We circled 11 on the board at halftime, and he finished the game with 11. And that was the game all along. If you take care of the ball, if you defensive rebound against St. John's, you have a chance.
Right here.
Ken, do you think shortening the rotation today helped a little bit in terms of just going with a finite group of guys down the stretch, especially?
Yeah, I mean, again, I have a rotation sheet at the start of every game. I've very rarely got to use it to get a couple of blowouts. Maybe I've gotten to halftime with it, but players dictate the rotation. We have an idea going into the game, but the players that play the toughest, play the most disciplined, play the most intelligent, will get their full rotation run. And especially in this league, where the margin for error is so small, when you do things that corrupt winning, you have to come out. Because our collective mission is just to win.
Okay, last question, please.
Kim, you mentioned the 15 days between these games. You go down 15-2 at the start. I think there was about a 5-minute stretch in that second half when you guys were without a field goal. Just kind of curious for, what's the dialogue like in the huddles when you're going through those types of plays?
We each play fast, So if this was Tony Bennett's Virginia team, 15-2 is a little bit more daunting. But a team that pressures you, we talked about on the other side of pressure is advantage. We know they're going to play fast. I think we were down 5 with 3 or 4 to something to go, and they got it to 10 just like that. Both teams play fast, so it's going to, basketball's a game of runs. It's a game of runs. In the start, I mean, we were obviously sluggish to start, and they looked like a team that just played 3 nights ago.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys.